Mad Wolf here, and today I actually want to talk about one of my favorite horror movie series of all time. I'm talking about Alien to Alien Covenant, and I'm gonna even throw in the Alien vs Predator movies in there. So to get started, if you haven't seen it, Alien is a 1979 horror movie that takes place in space. Yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. It's a monster movie in space. Unlike a lot of sci-fi movies, it's not a dystopian or utopian future where, hey, this is civilization. It actually takes place on basically a cargo ship. And these crew members wake up, they get a signal, hey, basically telling them to check out this thing, check out this planet. So they're like, hey, we're going to check it out. It's pretty much in our corporate handbooks that we are required to check it out. We're going to get a percentage of the finder's fee. Yeah, if we don't check it out, well, we could lose our jobs, stuff like that. So we're going to check it out. So they go to this planet. Crew members disembark. They check out this really bizarre kind of ship. And that ship is designed by none other than the infamous painter, H.R. Geiger. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that last name. He is a very talented artist, and he does do a lot of sexual stuff, but when I look at his work, I usually see like biomechanical stuff, like the combination of organic flesh with machine. And he kind of tries to show the similarities between machine and bodily parts and stuff like that. That's the way I look at it. Not everyone looks at it that way. It is kind of dark, it is kind of twisted, but that's besides the point. So they check out the ship, and there's, without revealing too much, one of the crew members gets attacked by a particular creature. That creature stays on the man's face. So they take said victim back to the ship. And they're like, hey, you know what? We gotta try to save this guy. We have no idea what this is, how to resolve the situation. Captain pretty much tells the science officer, hey, look, I'm not taking any chances. Cut this thing off, and let's just kill it, get rid of it. Come find out the creature bleeds acid. Not a very pretty scenario if you're on a spaceship. So at that point they're like debating, hey, what are we gonna do? This stuff happens, and sure enough, eventually the creature does come off, and the crew member does seem fine, although in a coma for a while. And there are some spoilers I do have to get into. If you've never seen the movie before, I'm trying to subtly just explain the monster. That's it. So, after a while, he comes out of his coma, and he's hungry. He wants some food and stuff like that. Well, there was an alien, basically an alien being developed inside him. The creature was basically feeding. Basically, the alien was putting something down his throat and actually having a newborn alien chastise inside this man. So the alien comes out in this grand spectacle of blood. At that point, things kind of hit the fan because they're just like, oh great, we don't even know what we're dealing with, and we gotta find it. Well, the alien does not stay that chest bursting size at all. Like, the chest bursting size is about, it's kind of like a snake size. It was probably like a couple feet, 2 feet. And so they're looking for it. They're expecting to corner and trap this thing. The next victim, who I'm not really gonna get into what happens, just in case you see the movie, but is really cool because you see like the camera is focused on him, but in the back you see the alien, and it's basically like it is big. It grabs him. You don't fully see the alien. Now that's one of the cool things about this movie. is basically they're trying to build up more and more revealing as the movie goes on. Like most horror movies, it gets to the point where there's one survivor left, and she's pretty much stuck with the alien, and she comes up with a plan. Boom, birth. Gets rid of the alien, tries to go back into cryosleep, and I'm pretty sure she has some nightmares about her crew members dying. Alien it's interesting. I was watching a lot of the low budgets or the behind the scenes. Alien is a low budget movie, but the director wanted to make it not seem like a low budget movie, and I think he did a pretty good job with that. Some of the writers had some wild ideas about the creature, and I just think, hey, as far as the creature goes, they put a lot of effort into thinking this thing out. They tried to scientifically explain analyzing the face hugging creature, and that was really cool. I do really like that scene. Alien is quite possibly one of my favorite movies of all time. So getting into the sequel, Aliens. First of all, Aliens is directed, and I believe it's written and directed by James Cameron. Now, if you don't know who James Cameron is, he did the first two Terminator movies. He did James Cameron's Avatar, obviously. He also did Titanic. I have not seen Titanic. I've heard some things about Titanic, so I want to check it out someday. I do like history. But no, he's done The Abyss. So this is going to be a completely different experience from Alien. First of all, this one is hyped up. It's all out war. I'm not kidding. Basically, to summarize this movie, the survivor from the first Alien movie, Ellen Ripley, she wakes up and come find out 50 years have passed from cryosleep. She just somehow drifted past their radar and sonar and stuff like that, to the point where it's just like, it was lucky that a deep space salvage team found them. The company has some words with her. They don't believe her stories about the creature, the alien, and they're just like, yeah, we have a colony on that planet now. We have had no reports of this hostile creature. So it gets to the point where all contact is lost on the colony. So one of the company men goes to Ripley and is all like, hey, you know what? I want you to go on this mission. We're going to send these Marines out. It's kind of a rescue operation. We're just trying to find out what's going on. But if something is bad, these guys will kick the shit out of the aliens. So Ripley reluctantly says, hey, fine, I'm in. And, she gets to meet some of the crew members, the Marines, who are going in and checking this out, and they don't listen to her story very well. They're just like, yeah, we're Marines, we're badass Marines. We're not too worried about these creatures. It gets to the point where they're checking out the facility. There is no colonists in sight, save for one little girl. Ripley feels bad for her and is trying to protect her. After a while, things do hit the fan again, and Ripley is basically forced to face her fears. And if one of these things was able to wipe out her crew, now she has a whole colony of aliens to give her nightmares, and she's really overcoming them. She also had an experience with one of the robots, the androids, and it's made her kind of distrustful to synthetic people. The synthetic person in this movie, however, I will say, is played by Lance Henriksen, who is this is probably one of the movies that he's most known for. He plays the android Bishop, and he's really cool in this movie. We also have Michael Ben, who's also was in The Terminator and The Abyss. He was also in, I believe he was in Tombstone and The Rock. But yeah, so we got some really cool characters in here, And when things just hit the fan, they hit the fan hard, and basically the Marines are stuck on this planet. I would say Aliens is probably the birth point for those kind of horror movies, that it's like it's an action movie as well as a horror movie. So all the Resident Evils, Predator, uh, man, just Doom. The original video game of Doom was supposedly conceptualized as, we want aliens as a video game, and they basically had to make their own stories and stuff like that. So, but the idea was, hey, we basically wanted aliens as a computer game. So that kind of experience, the Marines, we want that in here. And I think Aliens really started this whole kind of subgenre of action meets horror. And I thought, Aliens, I thought did a pretty good job. It reveals some new things about the creatures and how their I don't know if it's socialization, but basically how their hierarchy works. It's kind of like a hive with a queen. And, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I actually kind of like Aliens more than Alien. But, okay, so moving on, Alien 3. Now, Alien 3 is hated among a lot of people. And there were some marketing issues. They really took a dump on the artist who designed Alien. They took a dump on the artist who designed the sets of Alien. That's that guy, H.R. Giger. And, that said, there was a lot of messes with the script. The script was only half written when they started shooting the movie. But that said, watching it, basically Ripley is stuck on this prison planet now. There's a situation. There's one alien about the facility. There's no weapons, and it's a different kind. Each of the Alien movies to this point has had a different kind of setting and experience, a different kind of experience to the horror. And I really like the way the horror plays out in this. It's kind of like it was kind of meant as let's put a nail in the coffin, let's end the Alien series. It'll just be a trilogy. And for that, watching the theatrical version, I actually like the theatrical version better than the director's cut version. I actually really like Alien 3. I don't think it's as good as Alien, but at the same time, the way that they did it with granted the CG doesn't look too good now, but it was top of the line. It was like pretty state of the art back then. I thought it looked great. I think it looks great to this day. The way they shot the film, it's very creative and different, and it's a different kind of horror. And basically, I won't reveal what happens with Ripley, but she really is so determined that she just wants to end the species once and for all. She does not want anything getting back to Earth. So I actually really like Alien 3. Alien Resurrection, the title kind of hints at what happens to Ripley, but it's 200 years after the events of Alien 3. And they cloned Ripley. And they basically cloned the alien species. And now it's the military in charge of it. And why, I'm not so sure. Because, the company no longer really exists. So it's not even like, oh yeah, we're just marketing this creature so for bioweapons and stuff like that. No, I really don't really understand why they want the aliens so much. But yeah, some pirates are bringing some live test subjects for the phase huggers, and things just hit the fan again. It has Ron Perlman in it. It's got Winona Ryder in it. It's got some good characters, but it's just a weird movie. There's some scenes in the movie it just seems like a fetish thing, and I was like, yeah, this is just kind of dumb. And Alien Resurrection, it goes back to the action horror genre, where, oh, well, we got guns, we're going to kick ass and take names. There's a really cool underwater scene in this movie, and a very cool ladder scene. Ron Perlman actually hangs upside down and shoots the shit out of an alien. And like that is like the most badass scene in the movie. That and the swimming. Weird to say that, but yeah, the swimming is freaking awesome. Alien Resurrection I don't think is very good, but it's enjoyable. It's fun. It's okay. Um, I mean, it's definitely worth checking out if you want to have an alien binge. So, anyway, there you go. Alien versus Predator. Now, I saw this movie in theaters and I was really hyped up to see it. And, you know, it's weird. I actually really like this movie. When I first saw it in theaters, it's just an action movie, alien fighting predator. So I'm like, okay, yeah, alien versus predator. They throw some science in there. They throw some characters in there. They don't really get as in depth with the characters as they do in the previous alien movies because they got to throw in predator. And yeah, so basically, I mean, they find it. They find it's modern day, like 2003 or something like that. They find something underneath the ice in Antarctica, and these people go to check it out. Well, come find out the predators had aliens on deep six. You know, they're deep sixed. They're like cryogenically suspended, and basically the predators set this all up. This great hunt every 100 years. And well, it bites the predators in the ass, and the aliens or the humans are just kind of caught in the middle. I actually am very sympathetic for Alien in this movie because they're pretty much predators' prisoners, and they're pretty much rebelling. I mean, they're pretty much like, yeah, screw you guys, we're getting out of here, we're gonna rebuild our species, ah! And Predator gets in way over their head. That's a good movie. I thought it was a good movie. The sequel, however, well, let me get more into that. When I first saw it, and I liked it, a lot of people were like, I don't like this, it's blah blah blah, it's dumb, it's blah 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 blah. Honestly, it's still a fun and enjoyable movie. However, that kind of peer pressure did get to me, and I'm like, okay. And all that nitpicking just made me like not like the movie. I turned Arctic on to the movie, and I'm like, you know what? This is actually better than I remember it. What the hell? Um, there are dumb scenes, but all these movies kind of have dumb scenes and dumb characters. But I'm to the point. I'm like, hey, it's just a fun and enjoyable movie. You don't watch Alien versus Predator for scientific stuff, because Predator movies didn't really have that anyway. This is just a fight scene between Alien and Predator. Well, it's a fight movie between Alien and Predator. The humans are caught in the middle. There is a story that reaches out to the scientific people who like Alien, but it's kind of overshadowed by the Predator fans who basically, Predator's kind of a chest-beating hunter guy, so they didn't really throw that in. The sequel, however, is freaking dumb. It basically takes place in some mountain town in Colorado. Predator really doesn't care about, like, being the good guy anymore. And another issue with the first movie was his PG-13. So this movie was AVP R. And they put so much emphasis on the R, it was ridiculous. So everyone who was like, oh yeah, this is going to be so great, so great. And when I finally saw it, I'm like, wow, this is terrible. This is essentially a Friday the 13th movie, but with Alien and Predator. And you still have the ditzy, like, Friday the 13th teens. It's really, there was no likable characters. It's got this really ditzy kind of slutty chick who's like, I like the pizza boy. Yeah, we're bullies. We're gonna show up. Oh, gee, look, Alien just killed you. Now we're pretty much stuck in this town full of aliens and predator. Yeah, because that happened in 2005. We had an alien infestation in like Colorado or something. And, the whole city just got wiped out because frickin' we couldn't do anything about the aliens or the predators. There's a pred alien in it, which isn't a bad concept, but just the gore that was thrown in, it wasn't even really like tasteful to, I think, either Alien or Predator fans. Maybe the Predator fans, but it was just, for me, I'm like, this is just this gross out Friday the 13th kind of slasher movie, and that's not what I want to see in an Alien vs. Predator movie. Luckily, they did not make a sequel to Alien vs. Predator Requiem because I thought it was just awful. So then now we have Prometheus. Now, Prometheus, a lot of people didn't like because they were expecting Alien Zero. They expected an origin story of Alien, which essentially this kind of is. They're looking for, they're basically getting into the aliens from the first movie that were flying that bioship. And you have these scientists, they're going to this planet, they're checking it out, but like, there's nothing there. There's no people, there's no aliens. They found some dead bodies, but then sure enough, there's like this virus outbreak, and people are starting to lose their shit, people are starting to mutate and transform, and I thought it was very interesting. I thought it was very not psychological, but very, I forget that word. Not prophetizing. Not prolific. It's one of those words, though. Basically, is very mind. Yeah, you basically ask your questions in these minds. Should we be doing this? Should we really be asking questions about our origin? Should we just take things on faith? You know, when does it stop? When does the science stop? And it's got a very. I really like this actress. She was also in Sherlock Holmes' Game of Shadows and the Swedish version of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Also, she was in the Netflix movie Bright, which that was an interesting movie. But yeah, so basically, you know, it's more about they call them the space jockeys, and what they were up to, and that sort of thing. It was very interesting, in my opinion. A lot of people didn't like it because it didn't have the xenomorph aliens in it, and you know, they're just like, oh yeah, well these people are dumb, and you know, they just run in a straight line, and I'm like thinking, have you seen a horror movie where people zigzag run? I mean, running to the side, you know, whatever. And I mean, that all horror movies once again, all horror movies kind of have that dumb thing, but I liked it. It was it was a very interesting movie, and it got a little bit into the development of those synthetic androids from the original Alien movies. And it connects to Alien Covenant. Alien Covenant, in case you haven't read my review on my website, I thought was awful. I did not think it was a very good Alien movie. I did not think it was a very good Prometheus movie. And it really just didn't even feel like a very good movie. So basically it takes place, I don't know how many years after Prometheus, I don't remember, but basically you have these colonists, they're going to a planet. Right off the bat, there's a disaster. The cryogenic pods are screwing up, so everyone's awaking. Someone already dies right off the bat. The first casualty isn't even from an alien or anything. So then they're like, okay, so now what do we do? We either get back in the cryopods, which no one really wants to do, or we go check out this other planet, which just popped up on the sensors. Let's go check out the planet. Everything about this movie, you're just like, this is a stupid idea. Why would you do this? The scene where a woman slips on a blood puddle twice. She slips on the exact same blood puddle. And then it was kind of interesting because it gets into how the virus creatures from Prometheus turn into the xenomorphs. However, it gets very, once again, that P word, I can't really think of off the top of my head, with the androids, and hey, you know, maybe we should be gods. And honestly, like, there are some interesting things with the androids. But it's not about the androids. It should be about the aliens. And the alien, the xenomorph alien, which is why the movie is called Alien, is barely even in the movie. I'd say about 15, 20 minutes worth in this 2 hour long movie. And I mean, I saw this in theaters and I'm just like, how is it? I'm an Alien fan, and watching this, I'm like, this is the horrible thing. Just this, I do not enjoy this at all. I won't get into spoilers. Well, I kind of will get into spoiler because this scene was also, if they spoiled this scene in a trailer, but shortly after they escape the planet, and they're like, oh yeah, well, we're away. Yeah, they kind of forget about all those people who died, all their husbands and wives, and they're just like, oh yeah, we're going back to that planet, cooking some food. Oh no, there's an intruder alarm. What's going on? And we have this blatant sex scene, which they put in the trailer. And in the trailer, you see the alien kill these two people. That's not really a good scene to have in a movie if you're just gonna spoil it in the trailer. But and the sex scene just feels, once again, just straight out of like Friday the 13th, which I like Friday the 13th, but Alien is supposed to be a lot more thought provoking and a lot more intellectual than just, I'm Jason Voorhees and I want revenge on all those people who had sex while I drowned. Yeah, it's just dumb. Everyone's just kind of like celebrating. Yeah, we're going back to the planet. Yeah, my husband died. Your wife died. Okay, yeah. Yeah, everything is fine. And then my brother even made a good point. He's like, okay, well, you have this, virus which got perfected into the xenomorphs. How the hell did it get perfected into the xenomorphs when pretty much this, quote, laboratory that the creatures were designed with, it's very archaic? Like, there is no lab facility equipment here. It's just like stone tables and stone bookshelves. And how did you refine this virus into this super evolved creature? That's not really described. There were some interesting ideas in the movie, but ultimately I thought this movie runs on way too long. It's boring. Characters are dumb. Characters, I really could not get into the characters short of the two android characters. And even the character, which is kind of like a take on Ripley, it's not supposed to be Ripley. It's supposed to be like this Ripley-esque character. Like, she just seems really... How do I say this without being mean? She doesn't seem like she could do this job. She doesn't seem like she would be a good colonist. She doesn't seem like she could handle deep space. She doesn't seem like she could handle hostile creatures. And then suddenly, towards the end, she's just like this badass Ripley character. And it's like, you're losing your crap like 5 minutes ago. So, I really just did not like this movie. And it was I thought it was terrible. I cannot recommend Alien Covenant enough. I would say if you are interested in Alien, haven't seen it, definitely check out the original trilogy. The original trilogy is great. Even check out Alien vs. Predator. It's not the most intelligent movie, but if you just want to watch two horror monsters battle each other out, I would say this gets into the fight scenes a lot faster than Freddy vs. Jason did. I think it might even get faster into the fight scenes than some Godzilla movies. And those are all versus movies. But anyway, guys, those are my thoughts on the Alien series. And I hope you liked it. I really love the Alien series once again. And that's why I was so disappointed with Alien Covenant. As I'm like, as Alien fans deserved better than Alien Covenant. And we just didn't get it. So, but those are my thoughts. If you agree, hit the like button. You don't have to agree. But, yeah. Or you could subscribe. That's really up to you. If you don't like these videos, well, you probably shouldn't have been watching this for 30 minutes. But I do appreciate your time. So, have a good one.